If you're looking to lose weight, please don't count calories. It doesn't work. It's not sustainable long term, and ultimately it will probably lead you to gain more weight than you actually had to lose in the first place. If this doesn't make sense to you and you're kind of confused, because obviously this is something, counting calories and energy out has been talked about so much that it seems like that's just common sense for how you would lose weight. I'm going to be sharing the details for you on exactly why this is the opposite, why you shouldn't be counting calories, and how there are a lot better ways to lose weight and feel good at the same time. All right guys, if you don't know who I am, my name's Autumn and I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's in nutrition and human performance. And on this channel, I mostly talk about different science-backed means as well as holistic methods in order for you to feel your best. Now, before we get started, I want to define what success means for weight loss. Because here's the thing, you probably, at least in the beginning, will lose weight when you're counting calories. However, my definition of success when it comes to weight loss is long-term weight loss, not just losing weight for a short amount of time and then gaining it back. That's what we call yo-yo dieting. So in order for this whole theory of calories in, calories out, or counting calories to work, it has to assume three things. First of all, that all calories are the same, which is not true. Let's just take carbohydrates versus fat, for example. So when you have a carbohydrate meal, this causes a spike in your blood glucose levels, which also causes a spike in your insulin. Insulin is your storing hormone. So that means that by having those carbohydrates, you're going to have higher levels of that fat storing hormone. And by having that high level of fat storing hormone, it effectively shuts off any means of fat burning. So even if you are having a 100-calorie snack pack of some type of low-fat type of cookie or something, even if it is quote unquote healthy like granola, that will still cause a spike in your insulin, which will lead to that high amount of the storing hormone. On the flip side, if you have something like an avocado, this doesn't contain very many carbohydrates. So this means you won't have a spike in your blood glucose levels, and therefore you won't have a spike in your insulin, and you'll be more able to effectively tap into your fat burning mechanisms because you don't have that fat storing hormone there. The second thing it assumes is that we know how much we're burning. How many calories that we're burning on a day-to-day basis really varies. If you don't get sleep the night before, if you have an illness, if you're a girl and if you're on your period, if you're feeling stressed, all of these things have a really big impact on whether we're going to burn more or less. Plus, this will also have an impact on which hormones are more present. So for example, if you don't get great sleep, then this will cause increased ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone, which will cause you to crave more sugary types of foods, which we've already determined with the first assumption that not all calories are created equal, not all foods are created equal. So when you crave more sugar and therefore you have more sugar, even if it is a lower calorie amount, it's still putting your body into fat storage mode. These different daily types of things like getting poor sleep can have a really big impact on how much energy we're utilizing or storing that day. The third thing it assumes is that we know how many calories are in our food. Now, this may shock you, but we actually don't really know how many calories are in our food. First of all, there's about a 20% discrepancy that is allowed for nutrition fact labels. So like, let's say you have a 100-calorie snack pack. Again, let's go back to that. The food companies technically are allowed to have that 20% error rate. So they could say 100 calories, but it could really be 120, which if you continue to add that up, especially if you're a chronic calorie counter, then you know that adds up to a lot of calories when you have that 20% excess in calories. So if it were true that we were counting calories and using that to lose weight, then already the system's flawed because we don't really know how many calories are in that food. Plus, there's studies that show that everyone absorbs a variable amount of nutrients from their food. So there can be 10 people who all have an ounce of almond, but just through our own physiology, again, through illnesses or GI issues or whatever, each individual person's what's going on with their body, some people will absorb 100 calories of it, or some people will only absorb 40. The fact that we're assuming we know how many calories are in food doesn't account for the fact that we also don't know how many calories we're actually absorbing from that food. So the problem I really have with counting calories when it comes to weight loss is that it shifts your mentality away from food and toward numbers. And this can lead to some really unhealthy food choices. And I talk a lot about this with this video on macros and macro counting, because it's kind of like the if it fits your macros type of mentality that all food is created equal as long as you're hitting certain numbers. So if you're relying on more of these processed foods, packaged foods, which is the easiest thing to do when you are counting calories, just because they already do have the nutrition facts labeled on there and you can do like the little scanning thing, right? Even though we now know that that's not entirely accurate, then this means that you're more likely to have higher amounts of sugar because that is lower in calories and let's say a high quality fat, and having the higher amounts of sugar will lead to higher amounts of insulin, which leads to more weight gain. And the second problem I have with just constantly counting counting calories, constantly trying to reduce your calories, yeah, this may work in the very short term, but your body adjusts. It's really smart. And so as it sees that there's less and less food available to it, it starts to decrease its basal metabolic rate, which is your BMR, which means that you're burning less and less calories at rest. That's why a lot of people will plateau when it comes to counting calories and losing weight, because your body starts to reduce the amount of calories that it's burning at rest. And so you are constantly fighting this battle that you're going to lose, by the way, because your body will win because it's trying to just keep you alive, which means that you end up gaining more weight, and in fact gaining more weight than you lost in the first place, because now you're burning less calories than you were before when you started counting calories in the first place. Plus, it's a losing battle because when you are in this starvation mode, you have increased hunger, which causes increased sugar cravings, and that'll just make it so that you're inevitably, there's no amount of discipline that can counter that. Eventually you are going to give in, and eventually it will cause you to yo-yo. In fact, there was a study that recently found that the people from The Biggest Loser actually still now have a much lower BMR even years after the show. That was from counting calories and severely restricting their calories. So if you are looking to lose weight, highly recommend that you check out this video first. Gives you 10 ways that you can lose weight without counting calories and still feel good in the process. Also, if you like this science-backed information on how to feel your best, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out with new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. I'm going to go take Sophie on a walk, and I'll see you in my next video.